Welcome to Languages 101. In this tutorial, I'll be showing you how to create a fully multilingual survey. Let's get started. Start by programming your survey entirely in a base language. Here I've programmed a short 2-question survey in English, which is also the default language in Phonic. In the remainder of this tutorial, I'll walk you through how to translate this survey into 2 additional languages, French and Spanish. There are 3 areas that we need to think about: survey app localization, transcription language, and question translations. Transcription and survey app localization languages will automatically be updated for the language specified when the survey is sent. We will talk about how this works later in this tutorial. Note that if your language of interest is not in survey settings, then stop this tutorial and get in contact with our team at contact@phonic.ai. If your language of interest is listed in the survey settings, then let's keep going. The next area we need to think about is the survey question translations. To run a fully multilingual survey, you must manually add translations for each of your questions, including any options for selection, drop-down, and Likert question types. There are 2 ways to add translations to your survey. You can either add each translation individually, or you can populate a JSON file with all of your translations and then upload this file directly to Phonic. To add translations one by one, head over to the survey settings and click on Edit Translations. In the pop-up, click Add a Translation. In the upper text box, add your original question text directly from your survey. Then, use the drop-down to select the language of the translation you are going to add. Finally, add the question translation in the translated text box. Since we want to translate the survey into 2 languages, I'm going to use the plus button to add another translation. Now I can select the second language and add the second translation. Note that the original question text must be written exactly as in your survey, or Phonic will not recognize that this is what you are wanting to translate. If your survey is long, adding translations one by one can become quite laborious. In this case, it makes more sense to upload translations through a JSON file. We'll start with a blank spreadsheet and add our column headings. Each of the headings will be labeled with the appropriate language code. In the first column, we'll add the language code for our base language. In this case, our base language is English, and the language code is EN. Our 2 additional languages for this survey are French and Spanish. The code for French is FR, while the code for Spanish is ES. A chart with our languages and their codes is linked below for you to reference. Now we'll add all of our original question text and options in the first column, which is labeled with the English language code. Once this is done, we're going to add our French translations for each question into the column labeled FR, and we'll do the same for Spanish in the ES column. Now that we have our completed spreadsheet, we can easily convert it into a JSON file. Start by downloading the spreadsheet as a CSV. Then we will head over to csvjson.com, which is linked below. Here we can upload our CSV file to be converted into a JSON file. Once your CSV is uploaded, ensure that the output is set to hash and then click Convert. In the right window, you will see a preview of the JSON file. Click Download. Once converted to JSON format, we can upload these translations directly to Phonic. Click on the Upload button under Survey Language in Settings. Choose your JSON file and click Upload. Now if we click into Edit Translations, we should see everything from our original CSV added here. Any edits that you need to make on these translations can now be done directly in the Translations pop-up. Now that we have all of our translations added, we can preview the survey in our different languages. The way that we're going to do this is by adding a query parameter to the end of the survey preview link. When previewing the survey, we'll add an and symbol to the end of the link first, and then we'll add lang equals language code. In our example, we'll preview the French link first by adding and lang equals FR to the end of our survey preview link. We can see that our whole survey is now in French. We can also view the Spanish version by switching the language code from FR to ES. When you're previewing your translated versions of your survey, you might notice some errors in the translated text. These errors can be edited in survey settings as mentioned previously. Now that we've previewed the survey and everything looks good, it's time for us to think about how we want to administer the survey in different languages. You can do this in one of two ways. You can either have participants choose what language they want to take your survey in, or you can send a translated version of your survey to participants directly. The first option is to let your participants choose which language they would like to take your survey in. To do this, we're going to add a selection question at the beginning of our survey in the base language, in this case, English. We can add the 3 possible languages as options for participants to choose from. Now we will use some survey logic to set the language accordingly. In the survey logic pop-up, click Add Logic. We're going to set this logic to read, if answer is French, then set language to French. And we will do this for Spanish as well. Now if we preview the survey in the base language, we can select one of the languages and the survey will change from the base language to the language that was selected. Let's say that you don't want participants to choose their language, but you would like to send them the survey in a specific language directly. In this case, we'll remove our selection question and return to the query parameter method mentioned for survey previewing. Let's start by publishing the survey as is. Now we'll head to the survey dashboard and click on the Share tab to retrieve the survey link. To administer the survey in one of our additional languages, French or Spanish, we will add the appropriate query parameter. Since this is not the preview link, we'll first add a question mark to the end of the URL, followed by lang equals, and then the language code. To send the survey in French, we'll add question mark lang equals French, and we can see that the survey will appear in French. To send the survey in Spanish, we'll add question mark lang equals ES, and we can see that the survey will now appear in Spanish. Those are all of the basics on how to create a fully multilingual survey in Phonic. And that concludes our Languages 101 tutorial series. Thanks for joining me on this journey. In our next tutorial series, I'll be discussing survey logic in Phonic. See you then!